Welcome to the AI Playbook training. So the playbooks, Keller Williams they've rolled out quite a few in the last couple of years. And this is even the second AI playbook that they have released. And essentially what the playbooks offer is kind of a step-by-step guideline of how to utilize some of these systems and models. And the new AI playbook is all about large language models and how to utilize them. So we're going to break this apart in 3 different trainings. So today's training is all about kind of what is AI all about. We're going to dispel some of the myths of AI in real estate, some of the different buckets of AI use, and then go through what exact AI large language models there are out there that you can utilize. And then we're going to start to talk about personalizing that AI assistant, essentially. So whether that's ChatGPT or Gemini, how to actually start implementing and feeding it the right information. Then next week, we're going to talk a little bit more about personalizing, again, that assistant, perfecting your prompts. And then the last training is going to be all about putting it into action. And then some of those compliance tips and next steps, more of that call to action and utilizing it in your business. So one thing that I wanted to start out with is exactly where you can find the playbooks. So we have all of these uploaded to our agent hub. So, and if anyone cannot see my screen, feel free to jump off mute, let me know. But the playbooks are in our agent hub. If you scroll down to tech and marketing resources, you'll see the KW playbooks. And that will open up a Google Drive folder with all of those playbooks that you can view and download. So you'll see the AI playbook for real estate agents. And then the new one is titled Large Language Models. So here's that new one. And this is the one that we're going to be covering the next few weeks. So if you want to if you have that printed out, if you have it opened up online, feel free to keep it open, follow along. But I do have sort of a kind of presentation that I'm going to go through first and foremost. So let me pull up that presentation and we'll get started here. All right. Okay, can everybody see my screen? And guys, feel free to.
Yes.
Perfect. And I really want this to be interactive too. So if you guys have input or questions, feel free to stop me, unmute, ask those questions, put it in chat. I'll try and monitor the chat as well. But if you can honestly unmute and ask those questions, I think that's even better. All right. So we're going to get started here. So this is just kind of what the AI playbook is all about. So there's kind of 9 different sort of sections in here. So like I said, we're going to go through that mindset shift today, go through some of those myths that kind of AI, a lot of people talk about, the different uses of AI, exactly what are some of the large language models that you can utilize, and then start to think about personalizing that model. All right, oops. And go back here. Okay, so first and foremost, and I want people to unmute, who is currently using an AI model or system? So whether you put it in chat or come off mute, who's currently using AI in their business?
Lindsay, it's Bethany.
Hey, Bethany.
Hi. I only use ChatGPT, and that's it.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that's probably the most popular one, and we'll go through that one specifically too. Does anyone use it specifically just for personal things instead of and haven't really dived into using it for their business yet? Because I know a lot of people use it for personal stuff, but not necessarily for creating systems and models for their business.
Using it, using it personal stuff for personal stuff more and more lately.
Hmm. Yeah, I honestly like I've been doing the same. So it's been really nice. Whether it's creating meal plans or just different schedules or just getting ideas. I think one of the biggest things too is that AI is getting more and more popular in in terms of like as a search engine. So researching different products and comparing different products to kind of see what the best one is. Um, I know like recently I was looking up like different like electrolytes and like different like waters and like nutrition things. And I was literally using AI to look up different things. I was looking up landscapers for my mom, for different landscapers in our area for her to contact and get different quotes for like a retaining wall. So just think of that too as you're using it personally and professionally, and keep that in the back of your mind because you want to be at the forefront of AI when it comes to, clients and people out there who are looking for a real estate agent and who to contact in your specific area. All right. So let's get into some of those myths. Because I think a lot of people talk about, you know, AI, it's going to replace humans and it's going to, basically replace real estate agents, which I think most of us know that's obviously not the case. But it's still, I think, in the back of a lot of people's minds. So let me just see. Okay. So myth number one, AI understands just like a human, which is not the case at all. So all generated responses are curated by patterns identified by the context that you provide. So keep that in mind. It's just taking a look at those patterns and then pushing out that response. AI is not always accurate. It's very important if you put in a question or a prompt of some sort, you always want to fact check. You always want to double check and make sure that not only is it correct, but it also sounds like you. So that's always really important. You don't need to be a tech person to use it effectively. It's built specifically so that everyone can use it. So if you can type, talk, use a camera, you can use AI. The myth number 4 is that AI generated content is robotic and generic. But the truth is AI is just a mirror. It reflects what you give it. So feeding it your unique voice and style will amplify it to your personality. So that's one of the things that we'll talk about at the very end is just how to provide the right prompts and give it the right voice so that it does sound like you. Myth number 5 is that AI can only be used like a search engine. Well, it can definitely be a search engine nowadays. It's so much more. So it can be used to role play conversation frameworks, educate you on certain topics, improve things like your listing presentation, draft that 36 touch outline for you. A lot of content creation, staging, people use it for nowadays, or virtual staging, I should say. Myth number 6, real estate is a people profession based on relationships. AI can't help with that. No, but AI can save you a lot of time and money from the first time you start using it. So it won't replace the real estate agent as the trusted fiduciary for their clients, but it'll make you more effective and better at what you do. And myth number 7 is I don't have time, or I have time, you don't have time. Your clients and future clients are already using it and they expect you to be there with them. So just keep that in mind too, that it's here and it's here to stay. So All right. So the two buckets of AI use: generate leads and to get stuff done. So this playbook is all about getting stuff done. And it's here to help you with how to get stuff done. So that's the purpose of this playbook, essentially. All right. So let's move on to how they actually work. So we're going to talk through understanding those large language models. So when you hear people talk about LLMs, large language models, that's what that stands for. So the first thing to do, because I think a lot of us understand what a large language model is and what it does, but now it's about picking your preferred large language model and start to utilize it in your daily lives. We're going to talk about personalizing that AI assistant with a master prompt, and then down the road, perfecting those prompts and then putting that into action. So again, kind of an overview of what this playbook is going to lay out. Okay, so large language models, they're incredibly complex code strands that are trained on massive amounts of textbooks, websites, articles, other materials to recognize patterns and how we use that language. So think of it like the graph that you see on the screen. So you have input, whether that's text, images, video, files, tools, and then you've got the AI engine. So you've got the app, whether that's ChatGPT, Gemini, the API connection, the MCP connection, and then you have the Outlook. So whether that's text, images, audio, video, and how you're going to utilize that in your business. So it's determining what sort of things can you utilize AI for. All right. So picking your large language model. So we've got a few examples on here of some different models that you can start utilizing. I think most of us would agree that we hear ChatGPT probably the most, and I think it's the most popular of the large language models at the moment. So it's developed by OpenAI. It's the most used AI in the world. You can think of it as your easy to work with team member with very few weaknesses. And it's good at almost everything. So if you are just starting out implementing AI, you've never used one before, I would recommend ChatGPT to start out with. So it's, like I said, it's very versatile. And I think it's just a good general kind of baseline to start with. The other one is Gemini, and that's through Google. So the great thing about Gemini is because a lot of these, you can create a free account, but there is a limited capability. So like I have a free ChatGPT account. I cannot upload files or images to then manipulate that and get a different output. I can only kind of strictly use it for text. Whereas Gemini, because everyone is a KW associate, you actually get Gemini Pro for free through your KW G Suite account. So this is another one. If you are looking kind of for a next level, but you don't want to necessarily pay for a pro ChatGPT account, and you're kind of on that verge of, okay, do I pay for this? Do I not? Check out Gemini. I just more recently started utilizing it just to kind of test out what the capabilities were. So it is really nice that you can upload files and you can upload photos in here, and then have that create and kind of read off of those files, depending on what you're working on in your business. So I'm going to take a really quick pause here just to show everybody how you can access Gemini specifically, because again, you have Gemini Pro through your G Suite account. So let me stop my share and get into Gemini really quickly here. Sorry, my mouse is like going crazy. Okay. So let me get into Gemini. All right. Let's do this. Okay. So if you are in Google Drive or any part of your Google Suite, whether that's your email account, you'll have all of your Google apps at the top here. So you'll simply just click on that button for all of those apps, and then you'll see Gemini. So that's just another Google app. You can open up Gemini, and here we go. You can try now. And very similar to ChatGPT, if you use that, you'll just go in, describe your image. I was working on something yesterday, so I can remove that. I can click on add files here. So whether it's a file, something from my Google Drive, I can import code even. It also has tools here. So if I wanted to create an image, I can specifically select that. Oh, I don't know what that is, but I can go in and I can add that image, and then I can describe that and exactly what I'm looking for. But that's how you can access it. So just wanted to show that to everybody because you do have access for free through Keller Williams. Does anyone on here use Gemini, and have they used it through their KW account? Just curious.
I didn't know we even had the pro version or whatever through our KW. I had it separately, but that's cool that
Oh, okay. Yeah. So honestly, like I didn't even realize that until about a month ago. And I was like, oh, why am I I'm not using this like I should, especially for more of that image creation and uploading files, which I think is really, really nice. So yeah, just want to make sure that people are aware of that. All right. So let's get back in here. Okay. All right. So yeah, so we've got Gemini. So like I mentioned, it's connected to the Google ecosystem and the web. So it's a powerful research assistant that saves you a lot of time just because it's within that Google workspace. And then you've got a few other ones in here. So Cloud is another one. So it excels with natural conversations and writing complex code. So you can think of it as your esteemed editor who can pull all-nighters writing lines of code for the app that you've been dying to launch. So if anyone's on here who's really tech savvy and you're developing an app, this is the one for you then. I don't know if necessarily like us as real estate agents or in the real estate industry would need to use this one. And guys, feel free to stop me if like you've had experience with any of these other ones. Would love to kind of hear your experience as well. But me personally, I've only used ChatGPT and Gemini so far. There's also Perplexity, which it's less of a creative writer, more of a direct answer engine that cites its sources while saving you time surfing the wrong websites. So it's more of a fact checker that excels at specific questions and answers. And then you've got Gronk. So that is designed to be more conversational, witty. It's a little bit more controversial. I think it's built within Twitter or X. So it's got the same features as ChatGPT with just the real-time information from the X platform. All right, so really diving into more of the personalizing your AI assistant, which is, I think, where a lot of us are at, like if we've already kind of been using one of these large language models. So let's get into that. So it's really important to personalize that AI assistant with a master prompt. So that personalization, so it acts as your default instructions for all future interactions. So you fill it out once to set expectations of your preferred writing style, your tone, format, and your role. So this is how your assistant will interact with you each time until you make updates. So think of it as like you're actually hiring an assistant and you're training them on how you want certain things created and what that output looks like. So with memory, AI acts like your executive assistant that never forgets the key facts about you, your goals, your quirks, past conversations, so you don't repeat yourself, all of that. All right. Okay. So one of the first things that you'll want to teach this is your preferred communication style. So just kind of think through, and the playbook, I think, does a really great job of giving some examples of how you can start developing these prompts and how to train that AI assistant. So think of when you're drafting an email to a client, how do you want to sound? What does your tone need to sound like? Do you want it to be friendly, formal? Love that it has Gen Z on here. Patient, calm, enthusiastic. I've noticed when I'm utilizing it for drafting more formal emails, I'm always saying professional and concise, because I feel like what I need to use AI for is more so I have a tendency to kind of have run-on sentences, and I need it to button that up, make it sound more concise. I tend to kind of like, continue typing, and it like, I don't need that sentence there. I don't need to utilize all of those words. So I've kind of recognized, okay, this is how I can utilize AI when I'm going about my day-to-day business. So throughout kind of reading through the AI playbook and listening in these trainings, I want you guys to also think about, like, kind of going back to essentially what this is all about is, saving you time and helping you with a lot of things within your business, and essentially getting stuff done, referencing that chart that we looked at earlier. So think about, okay, what sort of things in my day-to-day can I start utilizing AI for in my business? So just keep that in the back of your mind as we're going through a lot of this as well, and start jotting that down. But to kind of just identifying your preferred communication style. Start circling some of those words, writing down your own words, because that's going to start formulating your prompt. Step number 2 is adding custom personal insights. So the basics, your name, and this is going to be more personal stuff, family or key people in your life, because if you're utilizing it for personal and professional, it's going to need some of this in here as well. All right, so your hobbies, your interests, your values, your beliefs, your preferences, your diet, your travel, what you like to do, favorite movies, your personal goals. So what are some of your personal goals for 2025, 2026? You can talk about your health goals, your habits, and then anything that's off limits too. So you can actually train it to, give it some of those topics that, you don't want included in some of those, answers that it pushes out to you. The more detail, the better. So keep that in mind too. So you're training this AI assistant to follow your voice and what sort of things you're looking for it to give you. All right, does anyone have a really good kind of communication style or things that you've trained your AI assistant on that you feel like is really working? Like anything specific that you've said and like fed to it where it caught on and now it's giving you a really good response? Does anyone want to share? If not, that's fine. All right, we'll move forward then. Okay, so step 3 is you want to add your custom business instructions. So this is, even if you haven't done this before in your business, now's the time to do it. Think about, okay, your industry is obviously you're in real estate, but what's your niche? Do you have one? Could you have one? So think about that. Think about the neighborhoods that you are serving specifically, the communities that you want to focus on. What are your core services? Are you specifically servicing first-time home buyers? Is it seniors? So make sure that you're identifying that. Look back on your transactions and the clients that you served over the past year, 2 years, 5 years, and identify that. What's your niche and who are your core demographic, your target audience, your core services? So your ideal customer profile, what does that look like? What are your biggest business pain points? So this is to help identify exactly how this AI assistant can help you. What are your short-term goals in the next 30 to 90 days? And what's your long-term vision in 3 to 5 years? So you're feeding it all of this information so that it's going to be better at helping you identify and giving you the right responses. What are your key business metrics? So feed it your metrics, your stats. How many homes have you sold so far this year? How many clients have you served? What's your GCI? What's your volume? All of that. Feed that information to it. And then what other business tools and apps do you utilize? So feeding it all of this information is going to make it better and better. All right. So does anyone have anything they want to share in terms of what's working for them? I'd love to know if anyone's using it, even for personal. If you've kind of started utilizing it on a daily for personal reasons, would love to kind of hear what that looks like. Anyone got anything? Let me check the chat here.
One thing that I have been doing a lot, regardless of what I use it for, is I've been utilizing the ability for it to make a PDF or a chart, or I'll just ask for, say if I'm asking for, like recently I made a workout and I wanted it in like
Okay.
a chart form, and basically everything now I'm like, can you put this in a nice chart, and then I'll print it off or download it, and it helps me kind of organize my thoughts versus just having a long string of chat back and forth with it. So it can do that super easily and quickly, and I found that to be helpful.
Yeah, that's great. Love that. And I'm just looking at the chat. I know, so Dana uses it for more personal stuff. We use it at, yep, Cream City Mortgage. Love that. And Amy use it for both. Yep. Simple uses for business. Totally. So the other thing too, that the playbook has that I think is really nice is on page 10, it goes through training it for more specific, like, okay, when I ask for advice, it has like a breakdown of give me multiple options to consider. So you can actually say, okay, when I do give you advice, I want you to give me multiple options, recommend the best single approach, walk me through pros and cons, and give me layered guidance. So look at a lot of these examples that the playbook gives you, because I think that's probably the best part about the playbook is that it actually gives you real life examples of prompts of how you can train the AI assistant. It goes into when explaining complex topics, use plain English, no jargon. Start with the big picture, then dive into the details. Give me a step-by-step breakdown, use analogies, use real-world examples, use diagrams or visual descriptions. So I think this is also a really good framework, whether you're in ChatGPT or Gemini, and kind of starting to feed it, your voice and your communication style and all of the things that we just went through, see what it gives you, but then also try out some other AI assistants. If ChatGPT isn't necessarily giving you everything that you need, try out Gemini. And also the other thing too that I'll probably start utilizing Gemini for is just because I have more capabilities within it without having to pay for an upgraded version of ChatGPT. Someone in the chat said, I would assume you can go back and adjust your prompts as your business evolves and experiences new challenges. Absolutely. Yep. You're going to be continually training the AI assistant as your business evolves. So if you're getting into farming a new area or community, make sure that you're feeding that so that if it's pushing out content for you or creating new content, it's got that sort of update to it to know, oh, here's Lindsey's business is now focused on, not just Wauwatosa, Elm Grove, Brookfield. She's also migrating more to the Lake Country area and focusing on some of those communities out there. So yes, absolutely. It's all about just training it and updating your prompt. All right. Okay. Anyone else have any examples or kind of ideas here? Okay. But I would just recommend going through and honestly, like print out the playbook because it has all of these kind of charts in there with all of those steps. So identifying your preferred communication style, adding your custom insights, and then customizing your business instructions. So honestly, like what I would do is now between next Thursday, when we start talking about more of perfecting your prompts, is go through and start filling that out if you haven't already. So have that ready to go before next week. And then that will give you a really good framework on how exactly to start perfecting those prompts and feeding that to the AI assistant. Because that's what we will get into next week, specifically talking about some different models of how you can do that, and then how to actually start implementing it. The playbook does a really nice job of putting it into action and some examples, like setting up your 36 touch or doing more like role play conversations. If you want to put together your own newsletter, what does that look like? So that's all going to be down the road in the next couple of training sessions with this playbook. All right. Well, it's a little bit shorter one today, just more of an introduction. But check out those pages. So those specifically are pages 10, 11, and 12 in the playbook. So take a look at those 3 pages, start filling that out, and then come back next week. And then we will talk more about perfecting your prompts and how to start putting that into action. All right. Well, if no one has any other questions, thank you for joining me, and I will see you guys next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.